Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. This is Dylan with Tucson Future Classics, and that is our 2007 55,000-mile Ford Fusion. If you were looking for the crossover point on the Venn diagrams of simplicity, comfort, and efficiency, this Ford is that middle point. This is an 07 Fusion S fleet spec car. Now, the cool thing about these Fusions is that these are effectively Mazda 6s underneath. So you've got the Ford and Mazda partnered 2.3-liter Duratec 4-cylinder up front, their FNR5 5-speed automatic transmission propelling it. It's wrapped in refrigerator white paint with steelies on all four corners, just enough tint to break the strong hold of the sun.
I wanted to stitch in some public gratitude for Dylan. He's out there in 105 degrees on top of the parking garage, even though I told him he could just do it like inside the parking garage in the shade. He wants you to see the car. He wants you to be able to see what you're getting. That's the whole point of these videos. But like, Dylan brings a ton of talent to the table, but he also brings a ton of grit. Like, he's just out there doing it. So big shout out to Dylan. Killing it, dude. Killing Dylan. Diligent Dylan. I mean, there are so many nicknames that I could share right now, but I won't.
And a tan cloth interior inside to help keep it that little bit cooler for desert operations. This particular one is a true fleet car, having been owned its whole life by the Arizona Department of Education, specifically the Marana School District. We actually sold this car's sister a few months ago. This one is VIN number 70. The other one was VIN number 69. Nice. Now, that four-banger will get you about 31 to 33 miles per gallon on the highway and 21 to 24 in town. They have proven to be really, really robust, and when we got it, took some cleaning up, but at 55,000 miles, this thing is really mechanically robust. We even put these cool center steelies on it to give it that kind of cop car junior look, but in true 1970s cop car fashions, it ejected one of them, so we're gonna get a new one on there before this thing goes live. Super simple, have proven to be really, really reliable, and the only thing that this really needed, having been a driver's ed car for a little while, we had to take the driver's ed brake out of it, and it needed a transmission. So we snagged ourselves a 33,000-mile transmission out of a local junkyard up in Phoenix with a 6-month warranty on it, popped it in, and now this thing is ready to rip. Let's get under the hood in the car and out for a spin. Up here under the hood of the Fusion, we've got that 2.3-liter Duratec 4-cylinder. It is a pretty simple engine bay, and because this was maintained by the school district bus barn, it's been kept really, really nice even before we got our hands on it. Simple to understand though. Over here, you've got your coolant reservoir, washer fluid, power steering is here. Check your oil there, add your oil there. This is an air cooling duct for the alternator, which is pretty clever on Ford's part. You've got your air intake and air filter here, fuse box there, and a fresh Napa Legend battery up here. Just behind that is your brake fluid reservoir, and that is the dipstick to check your transmission fluid level. Like I said, clean and simple. To get into the trunk of the Fusion, you've either got a trunk release button there on the dashboard, or walking around old school, give that key a twist, and up she comes. Pretty good sized trunk for a mid-sized sedan, as you would expect from this era. Not a lot of amenities, but you can pull there and there to drop that split 60/40 rear seat. You've got yourself a light, and a really clever thing if you ever need to use it, this lifts up and clips here to hold the carpet out of the way so you can more easily access the spare tire and the jack. Like I said, not a ton going on back here, but a very nice and big trunk on this car. Getting into the back seat of the Fusion here. Again, not a lot of amenities being a car from 2007, but it has all the basics and a lot of squish, which is super nice. You've got your child seat anchors here and here with top tethers in the back. Center console drops down with your armrest and cup holders. You've got a bunch of room. Like, this is my own driver's seat, and I am 6 foot tall, 275 pounds. I've got good knee room. And if I spin this around, you'll see I've got ample gut room, a lot of knee room, a good deal of headroom, and these big, pillowy, foam-filled seats back here just do a great job of, you know, giving you a real good place to spend some time. Ford really nailed it with this last of the, like, squishy sedans. And, yeah, this thing is a really good road trip car. Coming into the front of the Fusion, getting into the driver's seat, this thing has got keys for days, being a former school car. So, let's get this thing lit off, and I'll go through the few notable things up front. First and foremost, very strong blower motor, so I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. The driver's seat lifts up and down, as well as forward, back, and all the usual stuff, so you can really dial in your driver's position. I'm going to slide it the last little bit back and move the wheel up and forward to make filming better. But while I'm up in here, on the driver's door, you have got your window lockout here, power windows here, power mirror there, power door locks up there. Headlight controls are here, and that aforementioned trunk release, and this is a dimmer for your center gauge cluster. Not a lot going on in the gauge cluster, but it's everything you need and nothing you don't. Tachometer, fuel, temperature, speed. 55,255 miles, and you've got 2 trip computers to play with. That's it. Down here on the wheel, cruise control controls are there, and then we can move on to the middle. You've got a little storage cubby tucked in up top here. Unfortunately, the southwestern sun has started to take a toll on the dash, but no real squeaks or rattles, so I'll take that as a win, especially in an 07 Ford. Fusion logo here, you've got your hazards there, and then CD, AM, FM, and I currently have my phone plugged in with line in, because even though this does not have Bluetooth, right down here you've got a charger and a auxiliary line in plug. And the stereo doesn't sound half bad either. Down below it, simple HVAC controls, how hard you want it, how hot you want it, and where you want it. And then that is the gear shift, your Prindle, for that Ford and Mazda FNR5 automatic trans. Over here for the glove box, it is pretty big. Got my hat, got a bunch of detailing rags, and an entire dealer plate in there, and it swallows it all up. Cup holders are a good enough size to hold my big Yeti water bottle without it rattling around. And as you saw before, this is actually a split level. You got a small top cubby, and then that bigger lower compartment in the middle. Mirror is a manually dimming day and night mirror, and the heat has taken its toll on the silver in there, but still works just fine. And these guys, in and out, up and down, and you do have a little vanity mirror in there as well. Simple but comfortable inside. Let's drive. Heading down out of the parking lot here, I've got all of the windows open so we can hear all the noise this car makes as we go through the middle of the garage. Everything will echo off the walls. But yeah, doors automatically lock at 15 miles an hour. That's what click was, and you'll hear as we go through. 55,000 miles. We replaced some worn bushings on the suspension components, so this ride's pretty smooth. Does everything pretty quietly. Honestly, you'll probably hear the tires scrubbing in the concrete and my hands on the steering wheel more than anything. But this little 4-banger is actually pretty performative, has a nice little intake note, and can kind of scoot. But really quick, I'll just give you a quick little throttle, brakes. It's solid. And yeah, pretty fun to drive for a 19-year-old sedan. Let's get out on the road and really get some speed into this thing. So, sitting here waiting for a light to change. Since this is an 07 Ford that was used for driver's ed, I'm going to show you what I was listening to in 07 when I was in driver's ed.
A hold out for one more drink before.
Yeah. For a simple stereo, it's pretty punchy, and being able to tie line in is great. Since even if your phone doesn't have an aux port on it, you can get the auxiliary Bluetooth adapters, plug it in there, and then boom, you've fixed this car's lack of Bluetooth. Out here on the highway, got the cruise set at a typical Southwestern highway speed of 75, sitting just about 2,600 RPM. And these things really do eat up the miles out here. I mean, at the end of the day, this is still a 19-year-old mid-size sedan from Ford, but this being the fleet spec version of the Fusions, they built the crap out of these things because they were intended for the lowest common denominator operator. They expected all of the abuse. Taxis, livery companies, school districts, even they were called neighborhood enforcement vehicles with like the NYPD and stuff, not pursuit rated, but this was the chassis for a bunch of like emergency response police cars. And it's a mid-size sedan from when Ford still built squishy cars. It's really comfortable out here. Gets like 30 miles a gallon, maybe a little bit more depending on how heavy your right foot is. And it's just a really solid place to be, whether you're commuting or taking a road trip. Not a lot to go wrong, and not a lot to burn fuel, and just enough to keep you comfy down the road. Staged up here at a little dead-end road in Tucson. We're going to do a quick 0 to 40 to 0 to show off the accelerative and decelerative performance of this vehicle, showing you there's nothing hiding in the brakes or the suspension system under full loads. And we'll let that little Ford and Mazda 4-cylinder sing. So, whenever we're ready, 3, 2, 1, go! Full ABS right to a stop. Give you an idea of how this thing feels in your more typical like urban or suburban commuting setting. Here's a typical like 45 mile an hour like big city street or avenue. Pretty composed, soaks up the bumps really, really well. And if we duck into a kind of a rougher little street here, cutting in between these buildings, pop down to the alleyway, soak up some bigger bumps, manhole cover, speed bump. These things can take a fantastic amount of abuse thrown at them. These are just tanks of cars, which is why they were so, prized for fleets. And even like cutting through a little neighborhood here, your true low-speed urban driving. This is the worst-case scenario for suspension noise. This pavement is BAD bad, but it just does it without complaint. And the seats being pretty heavily padded means your butt doesn't even feel too many of those bumps either. There you have it. Back at our lot, wrapping everything up on the 07 Fusion. Now, again, with this being 55,000 miles, mechanically simple, pretty fuel efficient, and really comfy, this is a super solid car. Whether you're a high schooler looking for your first car, or just someone that wants a commuter or a road tripper that is, cheap to buy, cheap to fill up, cheap to insure, and cheap to fix. It's a good, comfortable car that a lot of people kind of sleep on. And it's rare to see them in this good of mechanical and interior condition. So to check this thing out and see what I'm talking about, visit the links in the description below, or call or text the phone number that's about to be on screen to set up an appointment to see this thing. Until then, I've been Dylan. We'll see you soon.